Okay, looks like 1 o'clock. We're going to get started here, 1 o'clock Pacific time. I don't know what time it is where you are, but here we go. So thank you all for being on the call, on the webinar here. And as of right now, I don't see any JV partners who are here. Many of them have busy lives doing lots of things in addition to their JV, their info products business. So that being the case, I wanted to go over some things that have happened with me since last we spoke here. As I told you, I have recently been retained by ClickBank to do some consulting work with them, and I just had a chance to get on the phone yesterday. And as it turns out, we weren't able to record anything, but I was on the call with a guy named Carl Blanks yesterday, and I'll show you Carl's site because this is a pretty impressive site. I'm going to get to interview him, and you will be able to see, hear, watch, review that particular interview shortly. But here's we didn't quite schedule. Let me just show you Carl's site here. I think it's conversion rate experts, and it's conversionrateexperts.com. So this is the guy, Carl is the guy who's the CEO here, and that's him on the left. And so I would encourage you, this is all about, understanding. So when you talk about, again, simplifying information products, he's got a pop-up there that I'll get rid of here. So if we're talking about the three basics, we're talking about number one, so if three fundamentals of the info product biz, they would be number one, product itself, which is my expertise, product creation. Number two would be conversion, and I'll explain that in a second. And number three would be, well, actually, sort of out of order here, traffic. So once you create your product, and then, so we should really move this to here and change the number scheme. So what's happening here is you want to create a great product. How do you define great? You define great as a product which gets very low rates of return and very high rates of additional purchase from you. So product creation, you create the product, you drive traffic to your site. Once they get to your site, you convert them, and that's what Carl, this guy here, is all about. Carl is this gentleman right here. And so they have a lot of free resources as well. I'd encourage you to go to them. I'm going to be doing a specific program with them talking about conversion as it relates to landing pages. So that's something that you'll probably find very, very helpful, and I would encourage you to check that out as soon as it becomes available. And I'll let you know if you're on my list. If you aren't on my list, make sure you get on the list. And of course, you get on the list by going to one of a bunch of different places. But if you go to Free Information Marketing Training, on my site, click on this red link here. It'll take you here. When you put your email address in here, blah, 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 then you'll be able to get my regular communication, and that will help you, I think, quite a bit. Okay, so going back to this, then, we've got the three elements. I put this into 7 in my book. And if you don't have the book yet, you should probably get it at Amazon. And again, let me show you where that is. Let me open up a new tab here and go to Amazon. So again, you should probably get a hold of Sell Your Brain Power. And it is right here. So you can get it in the Kindle form for just $4.99. You should probably pick a copy of this up because it's good. And it'll give you the 7 steps. As you can see here, I talk about the 7 steps. And so what I've done is I've expanded it when I did the book in terms of talking about the sort of the more extensive pieces of this puzzle. But if you simplify it and want to get it really down to the fundamentals, it's 3. You create the product, you generate traffic, you convert sales. But again, the 7 steps goes a little bit in greater detail into more elements of the process. So that's what now, in keeping with this whole, with Amazon here, I'll go to my KDP site and again show you some more recent numbers here. I have not done anything on kdp.amazon.com for the last, for the last while, probably for the last 3 or 4 months. So all of the money that's been coming in from here has been as a result of work I did, over 3 months or more ago and beyond. So my numbers seem to have gone down a little bit here. And I don't really think that's because of I think it's just because maybe more from a marketing promotion standpoint. So again, this number here, $584, has to be divided by, that's 6 weeks. So 584 divided by 6 is just under $100 a week. So I'm now down at about $400 a month from this effort. But again, I did it once, and it's paying me hopefully forever. I don't really think that this number at Amazon, at kdp.amazon.com, is being substantially affected by my not creating more product. I think it's just a promotion issue. So every time I get a chance to talk about it, people then go to the site. And so if you look here, if we go back to Amazon and we put in just my name, you'll see that I have a whole bunch of stuff available. 1 of 16 of 94 results. Well, there's a lot more than I thought. So there's a ton of stuff here. Some of them are physical books, some of them are Kindle books, but that's the whole list. And I would encourage you to sort of look through that list to see what you might be able to do and sort of basically copy what I'm doing. Encourage you to do that. So that'd be something worthwhile. So talking about some of the other things that I've been up to here, one of the things that was interesting about my conversation with this guy, Carl Blanks, and again, so that's Carl Blanks, and he is at conversion-rate-experts, I think, .com. Let me just make sure I have that right. Yes, experts, plural.com. When I first got on the phone with him, our plan was to record, a 60-minute or so audio/video talking about landing pages and increasing conversion rates. And what happened was we got on the phone and we realized that we had some technical issues yet again. And by the way, could everybody just in the questions area, last time we had some problems with audio. Are we having, just put in no problem or no problems. Can you hear me well? I'm just seeing because I'm using a different computer this time. So in the questions area, just put in no or no problem. Okay, good. Thank you, Barbara. Good. So the audio is working. Maybe it had something to do with the computer. Thanks, Scott. Got that? Okay, so good. Thank you. Anybody else? Don't worry about it. I've got confirmation that the audio is working much better. Okay, that's good. Excellent. So what happened was when I got on the phone with this guy, we had some issues, and so rather than actually do the recording, we just had a conversation for about an hour. So we just hung out on the phone for an hour talking about everything unrelated to business. And I would submit that your ability to have a strong, long-lasting business relationship is oftentimes based on non-business factors. And so I think that, a lot of times people they sort of look down on that whole process of, creating and building relationships is not that important. And I would disagree, because I think that when you have some other things that you have going with people, get to know them a little bit, that it increases your chances of being able to do business, do more business, and make things happen. So I was able to, we were able to have a good conversation about a lot of issues, and that was very, very helpful. So I think that going forward, my ability to get Carl to return my emails, answer questions, help me with stuff will be much enhanced, and I intend to do the same with him as well, if there's anything I can do for him. So I wouldn't sort of just dismiss out of hand anytime people say that, oh, you need to do this, that, or the other, in terms of sort of the softer side of the business where you need to create a stronger bond in the relationship before you move forward. Also, I wanted to just share with you, whenever I do these, and then of course they all go up if you haven't seen this before, they all go up if we go back to home here, or actually click on webinars. All of these that we do, almost all of them, except if there's a technical issue, are put up on this page, and there are tons of them here. So you could go and review, and a lot of the information is fairly timeless. So I put them up here. So the way that I do that is this. For those of you who haven't heard me talk about this before, it's important. So how do I do it? First off, I'm on a Mac, and therefore I use a program called ScreenFlow, which costs around, and I'm not sure, it's about $99. And it allows me to record the screen and audio like I'm doing right now. What happens then is I record that, and then I export it into what's called a QuickTime file, and then I put it on my Google Drive, which is now replacing Dropbox for me. And then my webmaster, Stanley, retrieves the file. He puts it up on YouTube, so then it goes on YouTube, so we can have, a free source to serve the video. And it also allows us to get more exposure and get people to find us on YouTube and then check out the site. So then it goes on YouTube. But again, I'm recording this on my MacBook Pro computer using ScreenFlow. And after it's done, it takes a while because ScreenFlow, I do a little bit of editing. I cut it down a little bit and I make it really space efficient. And then I'm using ScreenFlow, and then I export it into QuickTime, put it up on YouTube, and then Stanley, my web guy, puts it up on the site. So that's pretty much what I'm doing. And I think that everybody in the information marketing, information products business should be doing this a lot. Now, what happens is, so whenever I do interviews, whenever I interview anyone, my preferred method is to record them using ScreenFlow. Now, the question is, isn't that, you have a choice. You could either do a recording like I do occasionally in GarageBand or any other program, Audacity or whatever, just to get audio. But the nice thing about ScreenFlow is I can capture the screen as well. So what I will do, just like we're on here with GoToWebinar, excuse me one second while I take a drink here. What I'll do is I'll use oftentimes the GoToWebinar platform. So go to Webinar, and that allows me to record or display and share a screen with an interviewee, or he or she can display their screen with me, and I'm recording it. So as I'm going through things, so I get a combination of both audio and video. And it's something that, because at least for me, if somebody's talking about, say, a landing page, it's going to be difficult to discuss a landing page without seeing the landing page. So if somebody's talking about my landing page at my main site, they would be able to see it. We would be able to make comments. I could circle things or highlight things, etc., etc. That's what we would do there. So I use the GoToWebinar platform. That allows me to share my screen and to have my interview subjects share their screens with me and to record it using ScreenFlow. And again, all of this, so now the question is, how much is GoToWebinar? They grandfathered me in because I've been doing it a long time at $99 per month. I get up to 1,000 people potentially on a webinar. So I can have up to 1,000 people for that $99, which is, fairly inexpensive, I think. It's a good deal. So that's some of my, my process there. Now, again, to get the highest quality audio and video, we'd be doing something different. But this is all that is necessary. So if you go to my site, just to give you an idea of quality here, and this one was, I think this was whatever this date is here, from September the 5th. If I show this here, and I'll put the audio way down, let's put it way down here, just to give you an idea of the quality. And so I'll put this up a little bit. And so, plus, that's pretty decent quality. You can go check those out yourself, but the quality is very decent for what we're doing here, and more than enough. If we're trying to do feature film quality Hollywood stuff, it obviously doesn't move up to that level, but it does a reasonably good job. So I would encourage you to consider these tools. If you're talking PC, I have no idea what the tools are, because frankly, I don't use one. I don't know about it. I know nothing. I know nothing about it at all. But something you should be doing is using, if you have a Mac, use those tools. And I think that for people who aren't really that tech savvy, the Mac makes everything a whole lot easier, as I've talked about repeatedly on these webinars. It is for me, at least. Okay, the other thing is I recently got a notice that I was being automatically re-registered for another 6 months with Meetup. Haven't talked about that in a while. And my experience with Meetup has been fair to poor. Just because, again, people on Meetup, they expect free events. Anytime you try and charge for an event, you're going to have a pushback from people on Meetup, because let's just say free or very low cost events. That's what people are expecting. So given that fact, I would encourage you to set up your Meetup groups. And if you don't mind, let me just show you meetup.com. I'll sign in here with Facebook, which I think they let me do, log in with Facebook. And for one flat fee, I mean, for $72 for 6 months, so that's, what's that, 72 divided by 6, 12 bucks a month. I'm allowed to have my groups. If you look under here, I've got 3 groups: Information Marketing Las Vegas, Information Marketing New York City, and Information Marketing Santa Clarita. Let's go to New York City. Just let me give you an idea here. I have now got 61 people signed up. Now that means that those 61 people, it's almost as if I have a mailing list of people, and also I can put my own sponsorships. Web Marketing Magic is my own program. That's a sponsor. Cool Hosting Tool, Cool Video Tool. A lot of these things, I create my own sponsorship, so people who are there are able to, get sort of exposed to some of my other materials. So you can set up a maximum of 3 groups on that that one membership. So if you look at this, the numbers are, let me just do it by a 12-month cycle. So it's $72 for 6 months, right? 6 months. That would make it $144 for a year. And you can have up to 3 groups. So let's just take the number at time. So, up to 3 groups. And you should always maximize that, up to 3 groups. So if you take a look at some of these other numbers here, let's just do the computation here. So if it's $144, divide that by 3. So each group I'm paying $48 a year to get exposed. So now, my real question is, over the course of the year, can I not generate $144? The answer is a definitive yes. There's going to be no way I could not do that. And chances are you too, you'll be able to do this. But make sure you have 3 groups. I set them up geographically. Under my groups, again, I've got 61 people in New York. I've got, how many people? 11 people, big 11 people here in Santa Clarita, where I am right now. And then in Las Vegas, let's see how many that has. In Las Vegas, I've got 20. So 20, 11, and 61. So, somewhere around getting close to 100 people total. This would be a good idea to do. It also gives you the ability to do some practice doing live events, because they encourage you, with this Meetup system, they don't really want you to be doing just virtual groups. They want you to be doing real live groups. So since I go back and forth between Henderson, Santa Clarita, and New York City, I have all 3 of those groups. Now you could, for your area, set it up, geographically, if you wanted to set it up, one in one city and then another in another city 10 miles away, whatever you want to do. I'm just saying that to maximize your dollars invested here, you do, pay $72 for 6 months for up to 3 groups like I put here. So make sure and maximize that. Now, again, you have the ability to practice material. You can get up in front of groups of people, do your presentation. Oftentimes, these presentations are expected to usually be, under 2 hours in length. More likely, 60 to 90 minutes. You can look on their site to determine what are the best days to do it. I have varied that, and there's different people that'll give you, and you can hold them at events where you don't have to pay any meeting fees. Like, for example, you can do them at a restaurant, and many restaurants will encourage you to do that. Restaurants as your venue. But again, Meetup, if you go there, will tell you all about this. So I'd encourage you to try and do this. This is something I'm doing. And again, the most valuable thing is the various members. So when you click on members, I can get a list of all the people, and those people I can email them directly, and they will get my emails without problems of a spam, filter. They usually get those emails. So that's a good way to keep in touch with someone. So we've got a number of things here. We talked a little bit about the whole Amazon system, a little bit about ScreenFlow and the tools that I'm using, a little bit about Meetup here, kdp.amazon.com. And again, kdp.amazon.com. If you aren't yet signed up on that, you should do that. You go to kdp.amazon.com. This is what you will find, Kindle Direct Publishing, and you should sign up there because you can get paid to write articles and books and everything else, and the money goes automatically into your bank account. I love this because all of a sudden I check my account and there's money in there that I wasn't expecting. Because again, my goal, for those of you who haven't heard me say this before, I have a very, very simple goal, not simple but not easy necessarily, is to generate 100 checks a month from 100 different sources. And that, so I've got, JV clients, and they each give me a monthly check. And I've got kdp.amazon.com, and they give me a monthly check, and I've got this from Web Marketing Magic.com, and that gives me a monthly check, and I've got from Ultra Cheap Domains, etc., etc., etc. I've got a lot of different entities that are sending me checks every month, or now having them deposited directly into my account. So my goal, though, is to get to 100 checks a month from 100 different sources. And I also have consulting clients, like nicely ClickBank is giving me some monthly checks there as well. So my goal is 100 checks a month, 100 different sources. The reason for that is I like the idea of being diversified and having checks coming in from a variety of different places. So I've covered a lot of material here. So now what I'm going to do is see if we have any questions from any of you. I'm now at, you all just responded to tell me there were no audio problems. So now, do you have any questions on anything I have covered thus far? And I will try and answer them. I think I'm in my little question. Okay. Pam saying, how many sources do I actually have? I've got, what am I up to now? Probably somewhere, is it just shy of 50, I think? Thereabouts. Yeah, that's about right. Just shy of 50. So, it's mostly passive. Passive, active, mostly, I would say, yeah, mostly passive. So these are, for example, Web Marketing Magic. This is generating me 5 figures monthly. That'd be passive. I'll put a P for that. Ultra Cheap Domains. This is generating me 4 figures monthly, and both of these this is passive as well. ClickBank, this is a pretty big contract, and that is a monthly fee, and I'd have to categorize that as active. I have to do something. The nice thing is that I think it's a good thing to have both. It's nice to have mainly passive sources, but I also like to have the active sources, or the ones that I have to be involved with. Like, for example, if I'm coaching people, or my JV partners, good example. So, I would put ClickBank, And so these are, in the active area, we've had ClickBank, JV Partners, none of whom are on the call today because they're all busy working. And all of those are active, okay? And by active, I mean it requires some kind of regular effort or energy on my part. But the nice thing about it is I don't really learn anything from the passive sources, which, by the way, there are a number of other ones. A cool posting tool. There's a ton of these that I have, okay? That some of them provide smaller checks, some of them larger checks. But the active sources require effort and energy on my part, but they help me learn all kinds of new information all the time. So I would never want to have a purely passive stream of incomes. I would want to have active income sources as well, because it does allow me to learn a fair amount from that. So that's a good example of some of those things. So any other questions? Good questions, Pam, by the way. Anybody have any questions? I'm very open with all of my business and intend to remain that way. So there's nothing that I won't answer directly for the most part, unless I don't like to talk about, exact figures on income and stuff, just because I just don't think it's cool. My mom always said it wasn't polite to do that. Okay. Okay, so Tom's question here is, for someone at the beginning stages of this process with no current income, what would you suggest focusing on first? Well, if I were starting out, what I would do is I would have you, Tom, go sign up at webmarketingmagic.com. So let me give you sort of the real way to do this. And this is a bit self-serving, but I'm telling you, I wouldn't do it any other way. And this is what I would do, because it's very little risk, and it's a good program, it's tested, etc. So you go to webmarketingmagic.com and you go down here to the bottom and it says resellers. Click on resellers, and I would like to become an affiliate partner. Click here. You click that and you fill out all that information. And now, I guess that's if you're becoming a 4-week trial. But no, not if you're becoming a partner. I don't know what's up with that. Anyway, there's no charge, I don't think, to sign up. So the whole idea here is you set yourself up with, go to, and for ultra cheap domains. So here's what I would do, Tom. I'd go to webmarketingmagic.com and I would sign up as an affiliate. So let me put this at the top. So webmarketingmagic.com, sign up as an affiliate. And then I'd go to sell, and by the way, the place for sell domains for profit, selldomainsforprofit.com. So here's another place where you can sign up. This one does cost money. It costs you either $99 or $199 a year. And so what that allows you to do is to so you would go to selldomainsforprofit.com, and again, sign up as an affiliate. Okay, so in doing that, you would now, with very, very little money up front, sometimes a little money, but not much, you would be able to now have well-tested products and services, and that's important, it's products and services that you can offer to folks you know. And that's how I would get started, Tom, is I would just concentrate on things where you'd have very little out-of-pocket expense and you'd be able to generate. And these are very well-tested programs that provide you. And by the way, you get paid directly. The checks don't come from me. They come from the mother company, as we call it. So I would do that. That's how I would get started. And I would also I would get a hold of some tools, the ScreenFlow and some of the other things we talked about earlier, and start getting people to agree to be interviewed by you, if that's something you're good at. And if you're not particularly good at, again, here's a blatant plug for, what do I have? expertinterviewer.com. Oh, so somebody's hacked that site too. That's always great. Yeah, we've had some hacking issues. Those are great. By the way, the hacking. So people love to do that, and they get all excited about hacking your site. It's it's a cost of doing business in this field. So I have my webmaster Stanley putting in all kinds of stuff now to try and prevent that. Luckily, we're not a site like Amazon that if we got hacked, it would result in all kinds of stuff. But I'm wanting. By the way, the hacking mostly occurred as a result of some kind of a WordPress patch issue. So there's some security holes that can be had. So you have to be a little bit careful, but don't be surprised or freaked out if every once in a while a site gets hacked, because some people spend their time trying to get into sites and do that. They think they're somehow they're real cool. Yeah, it's just sort of an annoyance. Cost of doing business and something. So expertinterviewer.com when it's up and running again. So expertinterviewer.com when it's available again gives you all the tools to become a great interviewer. And that's something you should check out. Okay, so that's what I would do, Tom. I would go after existing programs like Web Marketing Magic and SellDomainsForProfit.com. I'd set yourself up with those. And again, it depends on who your market is, who you're trying to sell to. But that's where I would get started, because it would cost very little money to get both of those going, and you could start making money immediately. Also, what I would do if you're just starting out is the kdp.amazon.com. That also costs you no money up front. I mean, none, zero. So you could start getting paid. If you wanted to, say, spend the next, like I did, I took about 3 months and I wrote a lot of articles and I got a lot of things done, and now I've got regular cash flow coming from that. That's something I would do. kdp.amazon.com. So those 3 or 4 things is what I would do, Tom, for you if you're saying, what do you get started? So the question is, do you concentrate on passive income first, active income? I would also consider, let me see if I can go to another site and see if it got hacked or not. Let's just see if they hacked that one too. Consultwithfred.com. See if that got broken into as well. Nope, that didn't. So here's an example of a site that you could do immediately, Tom, or anyone listening on this call could do. This used to be different, by the way. It used to be a 90-minute call for $500, but because of the recessionary problems, I did this. So I put up a site here that basically, it's a very short little page, and it's simple, and basically it's a consultation site. So if you want to get a consultation with me, here's how you do it. You could basically copy this site. Feel free to do so. Click here to get paid, and it goes to a PayPal account. So in other words, you give me $100 with PayPal, and you get a consultation. Simple, easy, no fuss, no muss. Tom, you could do that starting almost as soon as tomorrow. Again, if you had one of the JV partners, who is Dave Hamilton, let me see if that's up, 7minute mini sites.com, 7minute mini sites. If you have Dave Hamilton's tool here, you can get this done pretty quickly, and I would suggest you do it, and you can set up your own sites. That'll cost you a little bit of money, but not too much. So I would recommend you set up these kinds of things, Tom, and also set up a site similar to consultwithfred.com. And again, that's no money up front to do that for you if you do the same thing. Again, that'd be where I would start. So good question. Let's see here. Pam says she's offered, let's see here, yeah. So I mean, Pam is doing something similar where she's offering 20 minutes of free consultation. I do that as well on this site. Let me see that one's been hacked. Marketingexpert.com. Let me see if that one got hacked. Yeah, see, these people. So I have Stanley who is working on all that stuff. So once they get into one of the sites, and by the way, this had to do with the hosting. So hosting, and actually, it makes you feel kind of important that people are, it's probably a competitor trying to shut you down or shut you up. Sometimes that happens, or maybe they're just people who are, they're fascinated by their own abilities to do this. It's sort of like a nuisance. It's like it's sort of on a very minor scale, sort of like what cities have to go through with like gangs and stuff like that. They're just annoyance and nuisance stuff, whereas gangs are a little bit more insidious because they're killing people. But it's similar kind of annoyance and bothers with that. So you got that's part of the game. Okay, so that's a good question, Tom, and thank you for your feedback. Yeah, I mean, the question is, if you're not getting people paying you for your consultation, if you put up a site like Consult with Fred and you're not getting a lot of people paying for that, there probably would be two issues. Traffic would be one, and probably perceived expertise in your topic. So those would be the areas that would hurt you if you put up a Consult with Fred like site and you weren't getting a whole lot of people giving you $100 or whatever the amount you're asking for. By the way, what I do on that site is what I used to have, and I'll just type this out here for you. I used to do 90 minutes for $500, and they could apply that $500 towards any product or service worth $1,000 or more. So after they did that, then they could get something else as well, since they'd already. And the other proviso on there, and you'll see it on the site if you go there, is you can only use this once. In other words, this deal is a one-shot deal. You cannot continue to give me $100 for another 20 minutes, $100 for another 20 minutes, etc., etc. Similar to when I've been doing some individual coaching just because people couldn't make it to boot camps. And what I've been doing is the following. I've been saying to people, okay, I will get together with you for an initial sort of an info product coaching thing. I think I set it at $300 for initial info marketing coaching, since they couldn't make a live boot camp. And what I said was, okay, it's $300 for the initial info. Now, if they only wanted to do this month, sort of month to month with no contract, I would do it further. The second consultation, if they don't sign a contract, was I set at $500. But if they sign up for 6 months, they get it at $300 per month. So if they sign up for 6 months, they're basically committing to a total of $1,800 over time. Whereas if they only want to go month to month, they have to pay $500 a month. And that seems to be working out fairly well. That gets people to, make a decision: are they really serious or not? And if they're not serious, they have to pay the additional. I have no idea why someone's. I don't contact. Somebody's asking me to contact them. I don't contact anyone. I don't do any outbound marketing. If you want to contact me or get together with me, you just go to Consult with Fred, put in the money, and then I get in touch with you. So that's how I do it. I literally don't do any outbound marketing. I don't go chasing people. I don't go running after people. It's just not how I do my business. So that's the deal here. So we got plenty of different sort of topics here. Any other questions? Be happy to hear those. So any other questions that you have on anything we've talked about? One of the things is this. I've been doing this Consult with Fred kind of deal, this initial consultation, for quite a while, and I also do. Let's see if that site's been hacked. Lunchwithfred.com. And by the way, Stanley, my webmaster, is looking into. Okay, so here's lunch with Fred. The concept: get together with people who are interested. So basically, people can meet with me over lunch, and I do this for $100 for lunch, up to I think either 6 or 8 people. I forget, 6 to 8 people. Okay, so let's say I'm going to, and I have a list of some of the cities here that I've been in over the years, whether it's been in you know Tampa, Miami, Prague, Honolulu, Costa Rica, Seattle, Hong Kong, Manila, Amsterdam, Lima, Peru, Munich, Germany, Brussels, and I've had people show up at all these um, where they wanted to get to meet me face to face, and I wanted to give them an inexpensive way for them to do an initial meeting to to be face to face with me. Now, what resulted from the lunch with Fred was a high percentage of people who attended lunch with Fred then bought other products and services. Why? Because they met me. I'm a real person. They got to figure out whether or not they thought I knew what the heck I was talking about, et cetera, et cetera. And that resulted in some quite a bit of some. So these, again, I don't really care how many people show up at these lunch with Freds. If there's one person, I don't care. So I do these whenever I travel, or oftentimes when I travel, not every time I travel. I should be doing them every time I travel. I sometimes get lazy. So I do the lunch with Fred. Let's say I'm going to be going on a trip and hitting 2 cities. I'm going to have lunch. I need to eat wherever I am, so I make sure that I make it available for people who are on my list to find me and to come sit down with me face to face for lunch. So let's say I get, 2 people. So 2 people show up for a lunch with WLFW. Okay. So somebody says, "Wow, well you really only made $200." Well, I'm sitting there eating lunch anyway. I might as well get paid $200 to eat while I'm answering people's questions, and $200 is the upfront dollar amount. But there's also lots of residual income that results from this venture, from this effort. I'll just put, because why? Because people come, they show up, they sit, they hang with me, we talk, and inevitably, a certain percentage of those end up giving me more money in the forms of additional consulting work, coaching work, or buying info products. So it tends to work out really, really well. And I would encourage anyone, especially like Tom was asking, if you're just starting out, you want to do the least expensive things you can. All this requires, all the Lunch with Fred requires, is to put up a website and to show up for lunch. All the Consult with Fred requires is to put up a site and to take phone calls for an hour or for 20 minutes or whatever you want. So you can, again, look at these sites, feel free to copy them, and just make sure if you want to put my PayPal address in there that they send me the money now. Don't do that. You make sure and get your own money. So those are a number of things. And again, I don't see any of the JV partners on the site, so I'm just going to continue to answer your questions if you have any until you're done. Okay, Scott has been saying. Okay, Scott's asking me about, let me just, don't have this. Any changes over the last year in the way you do your autoresponders? You're getting fewer responses, bounce backs. Okay. So Scott's question is, any changes in the way I'm doing my autoresponders? The answer is I haven't been doing many autoresponders. I should be, but I haven't been. So autoresponders, any changes? The answer is no changes because no autoresponders. Bad thing on my part not to be doing them that much, but I just haven't been doing them because I've been doing so many other things that I really haven't been concentrating on that. And autoresponders, you should be doing this using Web Marketing Magic. And again, going back to Web Marketing Magic, it is the program that runs all of my backend for all of my sites. One copy of Web Marketing Magic gets you unlimited number of sites that you can use it on, which is brilliant. Okay, so I use the autoresponder system within Web Marketing Magic, and you should be, let's say you set up product X to sell. You're going to sell product X. After you should have 2 series of autoresponders. The 2 series should be, before you buy and after you buy. Those are the 2. Before you buy, if somebody just inquires, gets on your list, you should send them a series of autoresponders trying to get them to buy said product X. And once they buy product X, your autoresponders should then be trying to get them to buy product Y or Z or service A or B or a bunch of other things, or affiliated products D, E, or F. So that's what the purpose of the autoresponders is. So in terms of data there, Scott, I have nothing to give you, nothing at all. I haven't been properly tracking it, haven't been doing it, have just been doing it. Right now, anytime you produce a new info product, you should create these autoresponders. Should being the operative word there. Oh, by the way, for those of you who haven't yet seen it, I'm now a reporter, and I talked about this last time with the Examiner, examiner.com. And if we put in there, let's put in my name and see if I come up. I have one big article that I've done so far. Okay, let's see. There it is. So I'm a National Business Marketing Examiner, and I did an article for these guys here. And there you go. And let's see if we click on it. 4 reasons why online marketers blah, blah, blah. So feel free to go there. Oh, by the way, it'd be helpful if you guys went here and liked it and tweeted it and did all that other stuff. That would be very helpful to me. So you go to examiner.com, and this is the reason why I did this, a number of reasons. Number one, I will get paid. Okay, so how this works is Examiner dollars or compensate. Let's just put compensation. Okay, number one is dollars based on traffic. They pay you based on the number of people who go to your page and read your articles. Nice. Number 2 is, as a reporter, you or me, we can get into events for free. I hate paying for anything. So as a reporter now, for a nationally acknowledged publication, so now your question is, how do I get in on this? So I think that the way that you do it is you click on sign up here, I think. Become an examiner. Now this is, I think, well, let's just Google that. Become an examiner reporter. Reporters, I think. Okay. But if you go to examiner.com, you'll be able to find that. So I would encourage you to do that, and that's a good thing to do. Other than that, any other questions? So I would encourage you to check out the Examiner and see if you can become a reporter. It is a pretty tough thing to do, so don't be discouraged if you don't immediately get taken on. They want to have certain credentials, etc., etc. So that's important. Any other questions? I'll be happy to stay here as long as you want. If not, I'll be happy to call it a day, and we'll do that. So I'll give you a couple more seconds for that. Any other questions? I don't see any right now. Okay. Well, then thank you all for being here. We do these every week, same time, same channel. Please tell your friends, tell your relatives' friends.